minute.
Awesome shit, John.
All right. And now for part 2 of our wild time with Orlando punk band Callin' Dead.
You mentioned Sid. Right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mentioned Sid. Yeah,
Okay.
I mentioned Sid.
I feel like maybe these guys need to know about Sid.
Yeah, I'm getting there's some sort of inside Orlando thing. You know, Ripley's doing this C thing. Yeah. So, what is it?
He gets to everybody. He gets up in their face, and he does this thing with his camera. And he looks like he wants to be Iggy Pop, right?
Yes.
Who does
like a Muppet Iggy Pop though.
Like a Muppet Iggy Pop.
He looks like a Muppet version of Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
He'll just take his cell phone and like shake it in your
face.
face while you're playing.
And I'm not doing like Sid.
So
Ripley,
Ripley,
on my laptop.
Ripley, so he has his own Instagram where he posts all these videos of all these bands, and it's just constantly back and forth like this. But then there's another one that's Filming.
Sid filming.
Oh
You
my
know,
God, this guy sounds like a riot.
You know what that reminds me of? Back a long time ago, a guy. So I even though I'm in New York, but I'm in a small town, upstate New York town, and I was born here. I moved away and I came back, and this is my hometown. Anyway, the point is that I had a TV show locally, nothing big, just a little kind of local access thing, like 15 years ago. And somebody at the time said, "Oh, Bob, you're famous now." And I'm like, and I said to him at the time, I was like, all you got to do to be famous in Glens Falls is go stand out in the street corner and scream your name. And then everybody's going to know who you are because it's a small town. And that's kind of, Sid's famous because he's going in the clubs and just getting in everybody's face and saying, "Here I am,"
Exactly.
That's
famous.
He doesn't film us anymore. The last one that he was at of us, I smacked the phone out of his hand.
There you go.
Well, that is
Annoyed
good.
the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it would be annoying. I can imagine.
Although,
Who hasn't answered yet?
I feel like he's on too many drugs to remember.
It's really tough. So when we opened up for the Casualties, like that was a really big deal for me because like they were like probably my favorite band when I was in like a freshman in high school. But those dudes were really cool, so like that was really dope. But I didn't like really get to know them or like really talk to them a whole lot. They were just cool, you know what I mean? So there was like that star shock factor of like I'm 16 again and like oh my god, but they're being legit and not being pricks. So good on them for that. But really. I don't know. When the town I come from, there's this band called the Green Goblin Project, and their singer and guitar player had the studio. Band I was in was recording out of that studio at the time. I walk in one day and like it's him and a bunch of people all just around playing D&D, getting baked as shit. And that was probably the coolest experience I met, like meeting somebody that I was like a fan of.
Right.
Because I just got to sit down, get wrecked playing D&D in this like punk rock studio, like. That was fantastic. That was like life shaping, I would say.
Rock on, man. Cool.
Okay,
stuff.
whose question is next?
I don't know. Who hasn't asked a question yet?
I have not, but I'm the last
Did
one.
Ripley answer her own question?
Ripley,
Okay,
you
I've
did
done
not-
this
yeah.
twice now.
There you go.
Okay.
Voltaire, like he's
You met Voltaire?
Voltaire,
like not the philosopher Aurelio Voltaire, the
he's like,
Okay.
guy. He used to do like the little animated inserts for back when MTV first started, and they had things. Yeah, so he used to do that animation. He's done like some other movies, and he does like a ton of music, and works with them. He's such a cool, really cool person.
Well, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Okay. I know that Mr. Masturbation asked the question, and Ripley's Believe It or Not asked the question.
I think Chris has not asked the question. Have you?
And
Chris?
Bob has asked the question.
I think it's Chris's turn.
Chris is.
All right. What's the most wrecked you've been at a show that you played?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, God. No, I'm not going first. Somebody else go on this one.
I can go first because I do not drink until I start playing when I drank. So it was like how wrecked was I by the end of the show? Like falling into a fire pit at a festival. But that's after I was done playing,
Right.
so that doesn't really count.
Well,
The
it's funny that you tell that story because I played a backyard show where we burned a telephone pole, and this chick
Are you saying
used
on
to
the
be
telephone pole?
No, but a chick
Oh.
fell into the fire with the telephone pole.
Yes.
So I've seen something similar happen. So
All right.
You saw a crippled man fall into a fire?
no,
After
I
being
saw
on
a
stage?
chick called Punk Rock Patty fall into a fire.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next
right.
answer. That was a very easy answer.
Okay, so who's next? Mike.
You
You're next.
said that we played, right? Like
Yeah, a show that you've played, not a show that you went to, but a show that you played.
Oh, that would have been a completely different answer.
Oh, well.
It's a foreign thing because it like you mentioned earlier, Kilo. I have no problem admitting like I used to have a big substance abuse problem when I was younger. A lot of my like late teens, early to mid 20s. So there was probably a story somewhere in there that was way worse with one of my old bands than anything I could think of currently with Calling Dead. But with Calling Dead, I know Scott's already laughing internally. It's probably got to be the Anti-Queens show. I wasn't that bad when we played. I've just like have that naturally high tolerance, like you were talking about, Bob, where like I can kind of keep going even if I get there. I don't really get sloppy or slurred or whatever. And then there was this one time with that one show, and we did the Anti-Queens, and we were going in the parking lot and then drinking in the bar and then in the parking lot like all night long. And by the end of the show, we pack up, and I got in my truck, and one of the girls from the Anti-Queens comes out and starts pounding on my windows. No fucking way you're driving. You better call an Uber. Just starts screaming at me.
That's pretty dope, I guess. That's a good person.
And I'm like,
she was good. She was right.
Yeah.
She was right. You needed not
I
to drive.
agree with that decision.
But it was that moment where I was like, I didn't think I was like that bad.
Right.
I didn't know I was doing anything that was that bad or embarrassing. But Scott was like, well, give me your keys. Let's call an Uber. Let's take care of this.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You just reacted faster than I did.
Yeah, but I don't think I did anything that was specifically stupid.
No, you were just right at that point of balance.
Right.
All right.
That's a dope story because that's a good person that did that.
Indeed.
I approve of this message.
All right, Scott. How about you?
So when I was this band called The Overprivileged, we would always do designated drivers, and we toured in this old purple limousine painted with house paint with purple and a gold racing stripe with house paint, right? So we were playing this show. He's shaking his head. You know,
that's awesome.
Terrible.
It's fucking great.
Terrible. So we're playing Chattanooga, Tennessee with this band called Tricycle Farm, and the singer has like a fucking vomit bucket because he's like vomits in the bucket while he's playing.
I've done that. I did that. I used to do that as a drummer. I totally would vomit.
Too many
So we're staying in his house in Atlanta, and my guitarist is supposed to be the designated driver. And I'm like one of those guys that like, when you say you're gonna be designated driver, I actually trust you to do it.
Right.
So I just go ahead and go full on bore. So we get into the limo and we're driving into Georgia and we hit a checkpoint. And we got the fucking drunk ass guy from Tricycle Farm who's obviously fucked up. I have no idea whether my guitarist was actually sober or not. I pray, I'm not even religious, but I pray that he was. But they ask us to roll down the windows in the back. And if you know a limo, they take a normal Lincoln and they cut it, right? So the electrical systems get fucked up. So we can't roll down the windows. So we open up the door instead. And the guitarist and I are, the bass player and I are in the back watching porn and drinking beer. And they pull these guns on us. Because they didn't ask us to open the fucking door. I was like, oh, we're so fucked. We're so fucked. It's not a real limo. There's no reason we should be drinking in the back. I have no idea the sobriety of the guy that's driving. We're done. Right. And then they said, on your way, which is when I discovered white privilege.
There you go. Right on.
That's the power of prayer, sir.
I was like, really?
That is the message there, right there.
Move on? Really? So be it.
That's a right.
Thank you, kind white officers. We will also move on.
Yeah.
Right
along, white boys.
To kind of go off of his answer really fast, I once got pulled over driving in a car and I was drinking, and it was the morning after and I was drinking. I was not driving, but then we got pulled over, and then my friend took the alcohol and shoved it under the back seat, and then they searched our car because they thought we were drug smugglers. This was in Arkansas. And then they actually pulled the drink out from under the seat. And I was smart enough and I was like, oh, I'm under 18 and those are my cigarettes. Am I going to get a ticket? And they said no and slid the fucking alcohol and cigarettes back under the seat. Never fucked with me. We got away with it. Thank fucking whoever the fuck.
But that's what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
Like the whole fact that I was in a band called the
If you're a black dude, you would have been in jail.
Yeah.
We were 3 white males from the DC area who all owned our own homes and had jobs in IT. And most punk bands were the lower class brats or the scumballs. We're like, no, we fully admit that we recognized our privileged station in 1998, 99. Before that term white privilege came into existence, we're like, we recognize that we're doing better just because of our gender, our race, and our geographic location.
Right.
100%. No, and I could tell you 100 other stories similar of, white boy Bob here, getting away with shit that I shouldn't have gotten away with. Honestly.
Oh, absolutely not. So many times.
No.
Absolutely.
So you're right. 100%. So, but we have, but wait, not everybody's answered the question.
I know. I said next.
Right. Yeah. Ripley, I think, is next.
Oh, Ripley. So in my band, The Products, we played a show at Lou's that we were talking about earlier, and we were supposed to go on second. And so I play guitar and did vocals in that band. And so I never drank more than 2 beers because I had so much shit going on with guitars that I didn't want to forget shit or whatever. And turns out one of the bands didn't show up. I can't remember what happened. We ended up playing last. And shows at Lou's that are last is like 1 a.m. So, I drink a little more than needed to, and I just, I fucked a bunch of shit up.
Didn't go well.
I was drunk too, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, I guess I haven't gone yet, right? I'll go.
Right.
Okay. So I have too many, but I'll pick one just for fun. So I spent most of the 90s, pretty much all of the 90s, touring around the Northeast college circuit. That's kind of what I did, and I didn't drive, so I drank my face off every gig, drunk all the time. But there was a period of time where I was calling myself Disco Bob, and I was wearing this kind of weird leisure.
I'm gonna call you that from now on.
I swear to God, this is true. So I was wearing this bizarre kind of like polyester leisure suit when I played, you know what I mean? And it was dirty, and I would get shit drunk, and I was just a pathetic mess. And I thought it was a riot, And
I think it's a riot now.
Probably was, yeah. Well, it is a riot now. Anyway, so I would do that, and then one time we were playing at it was SUNY Purchase. SUNY is the State University of New York, and there's a bunch of
absolutely.
Yeah, there are like 50 of them around the state, and so SUNY Purchase is down near the city, kind of downstate, but not quite to New York City. And it's a nice college. And we used to play all the SUNY schools pretty much. Anyway, I was playing very, very drunk as Disco Bob and surfed on my guitar. So what I did was,
surfed on your guitar?
Yeah, I'll show you what I did. Let's see.
So he means he broke.
Chris, why don't you surf on your guitar?
So what I did.
Because I don't want to buy a new one.
No, I'm not going to hurt it. But anyway, I probably did hurt that one. But anyway.
I'm going to surf on your guitar.
I had my guitar like this while the band's playing. We're making all kinds of noise and shit. And my guitar is plugged in and feeding back like crazy ass Hendrix shit. And I'm doing, can you see what I'm doing this. And I'm on stage like, wow. Just being a complete asshole,
That is the best kind of asshole.
Oh, it was wonderful. The band hated me. They were so mad at me.
That's so bad to the bone, bro.
Anyway, so there you go. That's
whoever asked the question has to answer now.
That would be Chris.
So the reason I don't drink except for when we're playing shows now is because when I was in high school, I drank a lot. And when I was in high school, I was in this band called Vaginal Discharge. We were playing a show at the Melbourne JCs.
Every band, let me just say, every band name I've heard today has been fucking fantastic. That's
Those
awesome.
are great names. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey,
you be in a band like that.
So we're playing a show at the Melbourne JCs with this band called 3-Inch Fizz, right? We were like a kind of, want to be like street punk band as much as you can be in high school, which I think most street punk bands are like kids in high schools. But anyway, so we're there docs and studded out vests, mohawks, the whole uniform and everything. And this band 3-Inch Fizz were like more of a pop punk band, and they had songs talking shit about kids like us. So we went on first because we sucked. So we went in there, we did our deal. We're out in the parking lot. We're drinking. In Florida, by the way, you don't get 40s in Florida. You only get quarts.
Yeah.
The law maxes it out at 32 ounces because they feel if you get an extra 8 ounces in there, that's going to really do something.
So do they sell like 32 ounce Old E?
Yes.
There? Really?
Yes. That's where this story's going.
Oh, okay.
We were balls deep in our Old English phase.
We don't sell 40s here?
You can't get a 40 in Florida.
No. I didn't know that. I haven't bought a 40 in 13 years, apparently.
Go look at a Cobra or an OE. They're all 32.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So
that's why nobody needs 40 of OE.
Yeah, I could tell a story about a 40 of Oldie if you want, but no, I'm just kidding. Go.
My drummer and I, my best friend at the time, Tyler, that's his real name. His mom didn't know who his real dad was, so the last name never dropped. Anyway, so we're drinking Old English in the parking lot, just dumping behind cars and shit. And I decided while 3-inch Fizz went on that I wanted to moon them. I felt like that would be a great idea.
Seems like a productive use of time. Yeah.
It's a half empty punk show. There's 20 kids there to begin with. So it wasn't really that, So I walk in, middle of the floor, drop trowel, bend over, spread my cheeks, flip them off, yada, yada, yada. I get kicked out. Right. And they're like, go home, whatever. And I knew the guy working the door. Name was Front Yard Ben. We called him Front Yard Ben because he took a girl's virginity in my front yard. He's like, you're going home, man. You can't come back in.
Better than the backyard.
I'm a solid like 5'10", 5'11". I've always been a big dude, like 250. And Ben's like 5'5", like maybe 100 pounds. So they kick me out and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not leaving. I strip down butt ass naked. I walk up to Ben, wrap both arms around him. I pick him up. I continue to walk back inside the venue and I drop him back down. And then we don't get to play shows at the Melbourne JC anymore.
That's wonderful.
That is a great story.
My favorite thing about your stories, Chris, is that the most shocking part of the story is the most matter-of-fact delivery. So, so I go outside, so I strip down naked and grab him and walk into place.
Right.
wait, what did you say? Strip down naked.
Wait, go back.
It's like that was not the main part of his story. That was
really,
that wasn't the main part of the story.
Which, by the way, the stripping down naked took a lot of effort because there was a vest, there was a bondage belt I had under the docs, and I'm completely shit faced. I'm a solid couple of Old English in it. I'm way too far gone to be anywhere near. And it's, by the way, it's like 6:30. Yeah. It's not even late. This is like a JC show. These are done by like 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was, it's still sunny out.
JC.
I don't, love those shows, those venues, especially young bands are always playing at places like the JCs and the VFW Post and shit. Anywhere that's got like a big room with 4 walls. If we can get in there and play, we will,
Right.
Awesome.
Okay, it is next question turn.
Well, we should assess, Kilo, how we want to do that, because this is an experiment. This is the first time.
No. I haven't asked my question. He hasn't asked his.
Oh, you haven't asked the questions yet. Never mind. Sorry.
No, come on, bro.
Disregard what I said.
You're just thinking about him naked right now. I understand we all are, but
it is in my mind.
Pick how many answers and questions you want eventually in the end.
Yeah.
So I think I have a good one, and this is, you'll see when it comes back to me, it goes back to something you said earlier, Kilo. So what is maybe the craziest thing or, most absurd or violent or whatever thing you've witnessed at a show? Maybe something that happened with an interaction of a fan to somebody on stage or fan to fan or security or whatever. What's
gonna be so fucking good? Oh my god!
Yeah, that's a great question.
Great job, sir. Great job. You get the prize of the day. That's a great question.
I think Scott should go first this time.
Oh, that's just really hard. It's then immediately brought to my mind in '95 when I graduated high school. I went to see Fear, Guar, and the Meatmen all in one night.
That's fantastic.
And I'm like, what could be more fucked up than that? And then I remember there's a band called the Ghouls from DC. Where I literally watched this guy skull fuck a deer skull.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
All right, now my story seems very tense.
Then I hear my dad's voice in my ear going, but Scott, you remember that time you played the 930 Club and you got dick ass naked and they kept making you put a sock on it and your stepmother had to look at you and she had to see your dick flopping in the wind and then you jumped off the fucking stage naked, and the crowd parted like the fucking wind, and your wife is staring at you now like you're a fucking idiot for even saying any of this?
Oh no, this is all going to be everywhere online. Don't worry.
Yeah, Scott. Hey,
you're going viral right now.
Your students
It's
aren't on
okay.
YouTube, right?
I quit my job as a teacher today, so it's fine.
We said in the beginning that there is no like filter here.
That's
No.
right.
No.
Like,
I
We
don't
don't
need
give
one.
a
Party
flying
like
shit. We don't give a fuck.
I don't need a filter. I'm not the principal of the school, though.
No, but I literally quit today. It's fine.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Is that a truth?
You really did?
Yeah, I've been teaching there for like 8 years, and I said I
That's
can't.
why he's saying all this crazy
Right
shit,
on,
bro.
man.
That's why he's getting
Anyways.
all the masturbation off his
Wonderful.
chest or onto
Wonderful.
his chest.
Oh,
depending
God.
on
I
what-
still got 2 weeks
Where did
left.
you just go
Hey.
with that?
I've got 2 weeks left, but you're not publishing this for another month. You said.
Yeah, a month. Yeah, about that. You know, it's a couple, but probably 3
So
or
you
4
better
weeks.
get that job in a month or you're fucked.
Yeah, right.
Because like the job ends in 2 weeks, but I get paid through the summer, so I don't want
There
to
you
lose
go.
the job.
Right on, man.
Well,
All right.
yeah,
So
well,
who's
whoops.
next there? Where are we with the question?
Go, Chris.
Chris.
All right. So I remember I went to the show one time at actually, okay, so one of my favorites. It's not the most violent, but it was my absolute favorite ones. Same band. I was in Vaginal Discharge. We were playing this show at a place called the Storm Club in Cocoa Beach, 900 North, right? And my buddy, who was in this band called the Cynics, I love the dude to death, like super awesome dude. But back in the day, like was one of those like very kind of loud, almost like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, like kind of people, like talked a lot of shit just for fun. Right. And he would say obnoxious shit to women that he may or may not be proud of today. I don't know. I'm not going to ask the guy's opinion. You know what I mean? We all said dumb shit when we were young. Fuck us. We all make mistakes, but whatever. And this girl walking by, you know, pretty girl. And he's like, hey, yo, baby, you want to get titty fucked? Because he would just say outlandish shit like that.
Not the worst thing you could say. Come on.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. You know, absolutely hilarious, but terrible. Come to find out, that's actually the drummer of one of the other bands that's playing that day, Take Action's girlfriend, who's like this actually really big kind of dude. Like,
That's
and
great.
they're starting to square up, you know, and I run up like, dudes, don't get the show shut down, you know, like don't fucking fight, right? And my buddy just like kind of reaches back and gives me this look. He's like, oh, okay, like no problem. Reaches all the way back like a cartoon and just straight overhand right, just absolutely. It was just hilarious. I mean, that's not probably the most violent one I've seen, but it was the most entertaining that I've ever been witness to.
Right on. All right. Ripley.
It's probably the craziest thing. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of crazy stuff in shows, but we were playing a show in Cocoa Beach, and I was playing guitar and jumping around a lot on stage, and I didn't realize how close I was to the edge of the stage. And I jumped right off the side of the stage.
Rock on.
And luckily there was a couch there. And I landed flat on my back on the couch, still playing.
That is a cool ass story. Rock on.
Yeah. I think back and I'm like, oh my God, I could have died.
Yeah, right.
We're glad you did it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're glad
absolutely.
you didn't. You are very entertaining.
Indeed. All right. You want me? I'll go now.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So my stories are disturbing because, so as I said, I traveled around a lot constantly, basically in the 90s. We did like thousands of shows and some weird shit happened. But we had once I was playing the worst is as bad as it gets. We were playing at a gig in Boston. It was this kind of like sports bar, very Boston, you know what I mean? Like the Bruins and Red Sox shit all over the wall, you know. I'm from New York, so I don't really give two shits about the Red Sox shit. You know, I like the Yankees. Anyway, so it's a sports.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But anyway, the point is, it's a sports bar, and so we're playing, and that's not really the point, but that's what it was. And you know, people are into it, dancing around stuff. All of a sudden, everybody disappears. The crowd just rushes away from us, and we're like, "Did I fart? I mean, what the hell?" You know. And then we're still playing, and we're wondering. We notice there's a huge crowd over by the door at this bar, which is only, I don't know, 30, 40 feet away from us, right? I look over, and there are a pair of legs like sprawled out, like there was somebody lying down. So their legs were in the bar, and they're up the top of their body with their torso was on the outside of the bar. They had just they were laying there. The guy died. He was walking into the bar, had a heart attack, and dropped and died.
Well, yeah, that's better than anything I got.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And we're just like, are we supposed to play? What the fuck?
I mean, we were in a metal band, so we would have kept playing.
We finished the song, but then when we realized what was going on, we're like, holy shit. And another time, a guy got stabbed outside the bar. Same thing. We're playing, and this was in Albany. Albany is it's Albany, New York. It's only about an hour from where I am right now. It's upstate, and we were playing at this place, Polly's Hotel. It's real. If anybody in Albany knows the place, it's a kind of hole in the wall, cool, CBGB-ish kind of place. And we're playing there, and same thing. Bar just clears out, empties. Turns out somebody got stabbed outside. He didn't die. This guy didn't die, but he got stabbed outside the bar while we were playing. It's crazy.
That's insane, dude.
There you
Out
go.
of all of us, I did not think you would have the craziest story.
I got another one too, where like I was playing at a place in Boston. This was in Allston. Boston's a fucked up town. I was playing in Allston, which is a tough, kind of a rough part of town, and they locked the place up. They announced on the speakers, the music stopped. Everybody, we're locking the doors. Stay where you are.
What?
Same thing. There was like some shooting going on outside. We couldn't go anywhere.
Are you sure you weren't in Tulsa?
No, it was. I'm telling you.
You mentioned Boston or Austin. That reminds me of a place I played in Boston called Jacques, where it was punks down below and strippers up above.
That's great.
Oh, it was amazing. We played with a band like Cholgas. It's like anarchist punk band. It's like,
can we call the next album that?
Super anarchist, right? There's no titties everywhere.
That's wonderful. So that was in Allston, you said?
Yeah.
Because it was, if you haven't been to Boston, right? Boston's like a lot of big cities like New York and LA, and Boston is really like LA is a great example where it's really a collection of other smaller cities that are all part of LA County. Boston's like that too. Boston's got Cambridge and Allston, and all these different like sections of town. So
I have family up there.
Right.
Anyways, okay, I'll go last. Who hasn't gone other than me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you go last. Sorry, I go next.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, I have weird stories too. Other than the girl whose fucking rod shot through her arm, which that was insane to be on stage while this happened. Then the other two that came to mind were, well, other than me going to my friend Tahiro's show, who was on the podcast, and then someone pulling a gun on our other friend who we lived with came in because he stepped on his brother's shoes, and then the dude like pulled a gun. But this was like a rap show. So this dude like pulled the gun, and then the security was like, you guys have to leave right now. But Cayman was super high, and he's like, man, come on, we don't need violence, like straight hippie bullshit. And I'm like, bro, we need to leave right now. Other than those stories, I was at my last show I played in They Were Outlaws was the CD release show for the band Hospice, who's another metal band that used to play with us. And we played and everything, and then I was sitting outside when another band played. And like this dude came out and he was like drinking and talking to me, and he was like super happy. He was like, oh my God, dude, you're like a crippled drummer, blah, blah, blah. And he thought it was dope. And he was like, bro, I'm going to go beat the shit out of people for you. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, is this real life? I was like, no, bro. And the next thing I remember is him getting thrown out by a group of people because like metal scene doesn't put up with that in Tulsa. So they just like all grabbed him and threw him out. But I heard he was just like hitting people in the back of the head and shit. But my top story is I went over there and grabbed my mouse pad to show you. This is my original band. This is not They Were Outlaws, but the blonde little emo fuck in the middle. He's the vocalist I'm about to talk about. When he was in They Were Outlaws, the first show he did with us was at the Pink Eye, the place I had talked about earlier. And he actually had something happen where he started vomiting blood well on stage. Ew. And he was still screaming through the vomit. I don't remember like what happened, but he's just like, I think he had at that point worked his way into the middle of the crowd in the middle of the floor. And there's just like blood coming out while he's continuing to scream. Oh so yes, God. He looks like an emo fuck in that picture, but his name is Matt. He's a great guy now. He's a motivational speaker.
Oh, so he survived.
Oh yeah. No, he's another success story. He eventually, after many years, got off drugs, and now he like drug counsels kids and stuff. The last I heard and stuff, but that was crazy to be playing, and then you just see your vocalist continue doing these. Really, he was a wonderful vocalist, but there's just blood just going everywhere, and I'm just like, well, this is the most metal fucking shit I've ever.
That's awesome.
So
All right. So, Mike, you answer your own question now.
So I kind of the way you were saying, like I have a couple that come to mind. When I first moved to Orlando, there was a lot of Nazi skin crap, and there was a bunch of sharps that were around that I was friends with, and I got pulled into a lot of fights. I've seen people stabbed at shows, crazy shit like what you were kind of going with. But the reason that I asked this question is because earlier, Kilo, you mentioned Acacia Strain. And
my favorite, I have an Acacia Strain tattoo right there. That black wheel from the album 3750.
So I want to say maybe 2015 or 16. I was at a show with it was Kublai Khan, Acacia Strain, Fit for an Autopsy.
Fit for an Autopsy? Shit. So you actually know the bands I'm talking about.
I love all that shit, dude.
Acacia Strain is my favorite band in the entire fucking planet. They are fucking amazing.
They're great.
Is the best vocalist ever. Like fucking legit. Okay, sorry, I cut you off.
It's all good. So at this point in time, they're playing at this place that doesn't exist anymore in Orlando called the Back Booth. And for a few years in the middle there, all of the back booth security was a bunch of outlaws, which like the MC, motorcycle.
Yeah.
They would hire them as security. And I'm standing all the way in the back because I'm watching the bands. I don't go in. I don't do the crowd killing shit. I just want to watch the shit, right? So as that's going on, all of a sudden, and you just see out of nowhere, this security dude is literally beating the crap out of this kid to where like blood is spraying. And Acacia Strain completely stops their set and is like, yo, what the hell? What the hell? Like now they're like, dude, you don't fucking do that to somebody.
Right. They're cool, dude.
So like mid-set, they're standing up for the kid that's getting the crap beat out of them. And then the security guard is like, well, let me defend myself. Turns out like apparently like the kid was crowd killing somebody, hit some chick in the face and then spit blood in the security guard's face.
Yeah,
as he was trying to pull him out. And that guy was like, no, I'm done. And that's where that whole thing went down. But like all of that is just like in the middle of the chaos that would be an Acacia Strain show.
Absolutely. They're the ones who said R.I.P. the pink eyes. So I mean, that's amazing, dude. That's crazy that you know who they are because they're not super famous. I mean, they are in that kind of genre, but they're not like a huge band.
Mike knows shit.
I think if anyone's going to put on a show and they decide they want to hire bikers as security guards, they should Google Altamont.
Right?
Do a little research. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, there's also like a merch company for hardcore bands. Bob, at least back when we were doing it, there was actually like a hardcore gang and this band called Life Ruiner, which they ruined their own lives. Like they broke up, but they still had a bunch of merch and shit that they had to sell for this company. And so the label actually put together like a spoof Life Ruiner band to continue touring with those songs so that then they didn't get like fucking murdered or I don't fucking know.
That's crazy.
But then the real Life Ruiner came back and then there were two Life Ruiners on tour at one time.
That
and it was
sounds like way too much nonsense to me.
Yeah,
Exactly. It sounds like fucking middle school, and that's why.
God, so fucking stupid.
Yeah, really.
I know, right?
So we are.
Hey, bro, do I not get a turn?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. There's so many people, Kilo. I just can't.
I know it's great. It's chaos.
All right. Well, we should before you ask your question, right? We're coming up on the end of the show here. So
sure.
You ask your question and then we'll figure out how we close this. So you go ahead.
Right. But we'll probably make it a 2-part episode so that then people don't have to sit there for an hour and a half.
Right. Yeah.
Watching us talk about masturbation and people getting hurt.
We haven't even touched on masturbation, but that's okay.
Oh, we have touched. Wait, what? No. Anyways.
My wife is like saying, stop talking about masturbation.
The guy with the wife there is the one talking about masturbation.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Means, but whatever. Okay. Well, I had a good question, but now that we're having so much fun, I am thinking of changing my question. No, fuck it. I'll just go with the question I came up with earlier. What keeps you motivated to make music? Like through the rough times, through the pandemic, through whatever the bullshit that you've gone through in your life, what makes you motivated?
Go ahead, Mike.
You want to go?
Go for it.
Go, Mike.
Honestly, I started playing when I was like 12 or 13. I played all the way up until I was probably about 22, moved to Orlando. I stopped playing for a while and started back up again right before calling dead. When I'm playing, so this goes back to something we mentioned earlier about like the mental health stuff. I struggle with massive depression, obviously. I mean, I feel like anybody, if you have a history of drug abuse and alcoholism, you know, I mean, there's a lot of that comes from some sort of spawn of depression or anxiety or whatever.
Yes.
And anxiety for sure, yeah.
When I'm playing or writing or being a part of something that's music and playing on stage, like it's something else that takes part of your mind. I also have an issue where my brain's constantly doing this while the other side's doing this.
Right.
And I can't sometimes focus. Like I'm great at multitasking. I am terrible at focusing on one thing.
Right.
So when I'm playing or when we're writing something together or playing live, that's all I'm thinking about. Yeah. All the crap, all the daily bullshit, the life, the work, everything else is on a pause for a minute for the couple hours a week or whatever when we practice, or you know the 20 minutes that we play on stage and whatnot.
It's almost like meditation. You know, it's
like
real meditation.
Yeah, like I hate meditation. I'll never meditate at all, but I'll play for 30 minutes, maybe 25. And I'll put out everything I have into it. And I am a moderately decent drummer in and of itself, but like the punk rock community has been my family since I was 15 years old. It's the one place I can go where I feel like no one judges me for being odd or weird or talking about masturbation. Like it's the one place where like I can be 100% myself.
Right.
And then the fact that I can play and that I don't have to be fucking like Keith Moon, but I can just play to my best ability and hang out with 3 or 4 fucking people who I love and adore, and once a week hang out with them. And it's like, God, I look forward to that every week.
Right.
Every fucking week I look forward to it.
That's the answer for everybody. That's great. That's excellent. I don't mean everybody can't answer, but that was a great answer.
No, yeah, right. Community is one big thing about music that is super impactful. And what's really cool about you guys is we've heard on our show so many fucking times, which breaks my heart, from people who are just solo artists. Like, it's really good to talk to you guys about music because in my everyday life, I have no one to talk to about music. And me and Bob are just like heartbroken because we literally talk to music people all day. That's our life is either making music or writing the blog or, you know, whatever, like going to Icon, the collective I'm a part of. Like, so we always feel like that. But luckily, you guys are a band. You have each other, and you get to have those moments where, whether or not you're going through something shitty or not, you have something to connect with on like a tribalistic basis, like re-tribalizing your brain and your life into like this people who do stuff together, and that's great. That's what's dope about being in a band. Sorry, I went into bullshit.
No, you're right on, man.
Go ahead. Next person.
I think Ripley would be the next person on my screen anyway here.
So, you know, in addition to what Mike and Scott had already said, because I feel the same way about that. I would say that old white dude Republicans keep me motivated to keep making.
That's the only time in history that has ever been the answer to anything.
That's excellent. All right. Good answer, Ripley.
Fucking baller answer right there.
Right on. Chris. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's really a 2-part thing for me, I guess, because it's one thing to play music, it's another thing to write and be in a band. You know, they're 2 very distinctive things. Playing guitar in general is the only thing I have stuck with besides masturbation my entire life.
Right.
Like that is, and that's not even to be a joke. I've literally been saying that I started both of them when I was 12 years old and I haven't stopped. Like, it's literally, they came in together and we came together and it was wonderful.
And they'll go out together.
Yeah. They came together. I like that.
But writing music, getting together with people that you connect with, right? When you get together and you write with somebody and everyone kind of hits this kind of groove, I compare it, and again, not to keep single-minded here, but great sex and great writing partners are the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's this certain connection that you get with people when you can write with somebody and you can play. It's a feeling you don't get anywhere else. And I grew up like a fat loner kid who had no friends. So I want to be able to fuck on stage. I want to be obnoxious and have fun and be a goddamn rock star, but I'm not fucking good enough to do it for a living. So I do it to make myself happy.
Rock
so
on,
I fuck everything else. That's all I want to do.
Rock on. All right.
Don't mean to interrupt, but to speak to what Chris just said. It's funny because when I was in a metal band and I had long hair and stuff, and I always used to joke that metalheads have long hair so that when they're writing music and everything comes together, they can hide the shit-eating grin on their face.
That's great. That's so great.
That's cool.
That's
yeah. So they can still look cool. So, all right.
I get
the fact that Chris is still in a band with me is one of the greatest compliments because I think he's a great guitarist. And the fact that he says he needs me to help him write stuff in any way, shape, or form, I always take as like, he's one of the best guitarists I've ever played with. So
awesome.
Well, that's because you play with a lot of shitty ass guitar players.
Ow. It's
just a testament to how bad I am.
Oh, it's wonderful, Chris. You managed to diss yourself and you dissed all the other guitar players and basically you dissed Scott all by association.
Well, yeah, I love Scott, of course. What else would I do? That's like
that's awesome.
That brief moment where Chris wasn't playing with us, think how bad that was. Like before Chris came back, think how bad that was looking for a guitarist.
Oh, I know.
That was for a fucking
so many bad guitarists before Chris.
It was, oh God.
One thing you guys have to know about my band, They Were Outlaws, where we were like the whore of the town. Every single band member of any other band had been in that band. Eventually, we were the fucking herpes fucking ridden band because it's like we had a big breakup where everybody left except for me.
Where'd you get herpes?
Herpes ridden, meaning we just had everybody inside of us at once. But everybody from like Hospice, the band that I was talking about earlier, their vocalist was in the band at one point, like to like nobody band. Even this kid came from fucking Kansas to try out for vocals, didn't even get in the band, but he really wanted to be. And it's just funny talking to band members because like I'm sure you know the pain of like trying to find new band members. So we just started with everybody. Who fucking cares? Bob, you have to answer my question.
Oh yes, but what keeps me going, keeps me inspired. I don't
not inspired, motivated.
Motivated. All right. Well, and it's all the same in the end for me. I don't I wouldn't know how to be anything but what I do. I mean, I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's just a fact. I don't, and you know, I mean, I quit. You guys don't know this, but I quit I worked in corporate America for 15 years and I quit my day job. You know, so Scott, you're not alone. I quit too about a year ago, and just basically, and I make music and I write down. That's what I do. And I even when the point of the story of the corporate America thing is even when I was in it. I tell Keela's story all the time. I'd be in conference calls or meetings or whatever, and people would be like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I got a gig." They're like, "What's a gig? What the fuck are you talking about? A gig?" I'm like, and I always would answer, always for 15 years, I'd answer, "Well, I'm actually a guitar player." You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I had this big, it was a good job. I was like the boss. I was making a lot of money. I had a big corporate job, and I'm sitting at a big desk within a corner office, the whole fucking thing. And but I always had a guitar pick in my pocket. I mean, I made a point of when I went to work every day, I put a guitar pick in my pocket to remind myself.
That's so dope. That's so fucking brilliant.
No, dude, I said the exact same thing, man. I'm in sales to pay the bills. I play punk rock for a living. Like that's right there with you.
Right on. So anyway, I stay motivated because I wouldn't know how to otherwise. If you talk about mental health, I am the most ADHD whack job you've ever met. I am an anxiety-ridden freak. And music makes everything better. So
everything.
Music does make everything better. And that's
the only thing that's always loved me back, no matter what.
Exactly.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude.
Absolutely.
That is a great segue into my answer to my own question that Bob
go, buddy.
But that's okay. Fuck, now I did our thing, Bob. I forgot what I was going to say. This happens once every episode. One of us forgets what they were going to say. And this is my question I came up with, and I'm still fucking getting it. Okay, what was I going to say? Yes. Okay, so what keeps me motivated is I believe that, like, music is a way of, like, when people listen to music, it's a way of taking you out of the pressures of life for 2 to 10 minutes, whatever the amount of time the music song takes. And if you make good music, you have the ability to affect people's lives in a way where they can have that brief moment of clarity where nothing else fucking matters because the beat goes hard or the song is funny or the song is great. And so when I started becoming a producer, I was at a very low point in my life. I was just getting a life coaching degree or whatever, but I didn't want to do that because I was like, oh, I'm down all the time. Who gives me the right to like make others happy through this? So I kind of, threatened the universe and said I need purpose in my life before 12 o'clock tonight, which our podcast has heard this story before, but they have not. And so I was like, bargaining with the universe, kind of giving it a huge threat. And I drove over to my friend's house to show him a song called, I think it was Epic by some house DJ, whatever. And I was playing the song for him in my van, my hippie van in this church parking lot that we used to sit at in the middle of a neighborhood. And I was like, dude, I could fucking do this. And I looked down at 12 o'clock and I was like, I'm going to fucking do this. So my point being, like, I believe that if you can write a good song that connects with somebody on whatever level it is, which I do not write motivational shit. I don't write, happy sounding shit, but I know that it potentially could help someone. For instance, my new song is called Glory to Ukraine. I wrote it for like the Ukrainian people. And then our new song that me and Bob just did is called Love for Liberty that's coming out this month. And it's about Ukraine as well. And it's like, especially right now where my music is mainly driven by like writing songs for Ukraine and kind of showing, because trust me, I would be over there shooting and fighting with them if I could, but I don't think they need to drag around a cripple kid with them to try to go kill Russians. Like, I don't think anyone would participate in that action. So what else can I do? I felt very down and I felt like I can't help out in any way, but I decided I'm going to write music for the people who hear it. If it can help anybody who's struggling with even hearing about this war, which I don't know what you guys think about the war, but it doesn't matter because I know what I think about the war. So the funny thing about this is one of the top countries that listens to my song Glory to Ukraine right now on SoundCloud is Russia. So I don't know what that fucking means. Right, it's exactly. Her face is priceless for that. Right. And Moscow was like the third state or whatever that listened to it out of.
Yeah, don't answer your door.
No, it's okay. I'm not afraid of death. I've almost died many times. So, point being, I really feel like I make music because it can have the potential to give people peace in moments that there is no other way to have peace, because it's done that for me my whole life.
Good answer, brother.
As you were telling your story, reminded me of time I was watching this band called Trailer Trash UK from Philadelphia play the Sushi Cafe in Baltimore. There may have been 15 people, but I remember being there going, there was no other place in all the world I would rather be right now than in this spot watching it. And all the fucking shit in my world doesn't fucking matter for the next 25 minutes because I am getting my fucking balls blown off.
Right.
And I am enjoying every fucking moment of my life.
Right on, man.
And like, when does that happen otherwise?
Right, exactly. People like that is why I make music every day and work as hard as I have on music, because I want to blow people's balls off.
There you go, man. you say you don't meditate, Scott. You never will, but
I don't meditate. No, I never.
Twice meditate. Now you have basically described Zen. You're described as Zen.
When I moved to Florida, my wife said, "Go meditate for 10 minutes," and I had a grad school, just bought a house, had no job, and I had a newborn baby, and I sat outside for 15 minutes listening to meditation shit. And she's like, "How do you feel?" And I was like, "Fucking terrible." I could have been writing a paper. I could have been playing with my newborn baby. I could have been looking for a fucking job.
You're playing the drums.
Minutes, I listen to bullshit nonsense. Shit.
Every time you play the drums and you feel like you're in that zone, bro, like whenever you're in that zone where nothing else matters around you and you feel like the music's going through you, that's meditation, whether you want to fucking admit it or not.
Right on. All right.
Meditation is like when you're singing up in front of the band and like you see people out there that are connecting with what you're saying and they're like dancing around you and they're like yes, and even afterwards, like that is a moment of Zen.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
For sure. So, okay, how we usually end the show, you guys, since we've done this awesome round robin thing and I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was fun.
We usually end it with asking, is there anything else you'd like to say? You can say fucking whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's not racist, sexist, or homophobic.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. So yeah, let's do that now. What's your parting words for the show?
Mike, parting words, Mike.
Well, I appreciate you having us both for Call Undead and DCPC Live. Scott could update you better than I could about stuff we have that are in the works for coming out. But as Call Undead, like our full length with actually our old singer before Ripley came in, is coming out in August. We did just drop the new track with Ripley, came out last week. Patriarchy. If you haven't heard it, go listen to that. And
go to staticdive.com and listen to it.
Oh, baby.
It's
absolutely plug your shit, man. Do it.
There you go.
Other than that, honestly, like I just, love doing this kind of thing. I love playing with everybody and thank everybody that I see you guys all the time, but everybody, like, just,
right on, man. Cool.
Thanks for having us.
Right on. Well, thank you. Scott, any parting words from you?
I just want to thank you for having us. And if you live in the Northeast area, we're going on tour this June. We're playing Philadelphia and New York City and the DC area, Virginia Beach. Yep. Yeah, I know I just fucked up around Virginia Beach, but it's going to be fucking fun. Bunch of other fucking places. I'm so stoked to go on tour. It's been 13 years since I've gone on tour, and I can't be more stoked to do it.
And you guys are going to be in New York?
Yeah, we're playing fucking Torrey House on with Bafa. And Worcester, and I forget who the other band is.
Cool.
Sorry, the other band.
In Brooklyn, right?
It's in Brooklyn, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll keep an eye on the calendar.
So Bob's gonna come out to that show, right,
well,
Bob?
I mean, I'm a couple hours north, but I can.
Come on, Bob.
No, I think I might. Well,
my wife's gonna be at the show.
It's why I asked.
What else you gonna be doing on Thursday night, Bob?
When is the gig? When is the gig? The New York
late June, early July.
You want me to know off the top of my head?
June.
Hold on, I gotta look on the actual Facebook page. I don't remember.
I think it's like June.
We don't have to resolve this right now, but yes, I think I will.
But we'll let you know, Bob.
I love going to the city, so and I would love to see you guys. So rock on.
Be dope.
All right. So anyway, Scott, so were you, did I interrupt your parting words?
No, I'm done. That's all I had to say.
He's long-winded. You can cut him off.
I could say more, but my wife would want me to stop.
Shut up.
All right, Ripley, your parting words before we go.
We're playing New York on June 26th.
June 26th.
Is that your parting words, or are you just playing?
No, I was just filling in the
yes, I just looked at
my parting words
Sunday,
right now.
Wait, can I come back and say Ripley is the most organized of all of us, I swear.
Isn't that always with the females?
Whoa!
No, I have to hand this to Scott because Scott made the fucking.
That's true.
I just pulled
I'm not okay. Sorry, Scott. You're the most organized for the band, but I'm sorry. I was going back to when Ripley was coming in and trying out, and you had everything printed in fucking sheets and
so bad.
I have never seen somebody come into a punk band doing everything you did.
Oh no, she was so uber prepared.
Yeah. My parting words though for this are we're at a very important moment in our American history right now because women are on the verge of losing our right to our bodies. And it may start with women's rights, but it ends with men's rights and it ends with anybody who doesn't fit the Christian stereotypical white male role of what's correct. And so I think that we all need to just fucking get everybody we know and speak out and fucking vote.
Right.
I mean, if people will say, "Oh, fuck that," like we hear a lot of this shit in the anarcho community. It's like, "Oh, voting doesn't matter," whatever. But it does. It really fucking does, because it's all we have.
It does. And you know what? You do? Like you say, you vote. You don't storm the castle. You don't you don't act like an asshole. You vote. Go freaking vote.
Storm the castle, boys.
Anyway,
you're
so
talking to a social studies teacher. You definitely
those are the best parting words I've ever heard so
far. Those are great. And
now Chris has to follow that shit.
Yeah, good luck, Chris.
Well, that's the thing. Thankfully, Ripley has the ability to say things that are meaningful and impactful and come from someplace that we all agree with. So I don't even need to worry about even emphasizing on what she just brought to the table, because she did better than I can. That's why she's in the front and has the microphone.
That's the perfect way to explain it.
However,
so we were all waiting for the however.
Exactly.
What I will say, smoke weed, have sex, be happy.
Yes, and that will help you vote.
I'll agree with both of you 100%.
Always the parting words right there. Both of you did. I don't know. He nailed it after you. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, really. I didn't think you'd be able to follow.
Smoke weed with vote, have sex, and have fun.
There you go. Right.
Vote before you smoke weed.
Yeah, live your best life that you can, and give no fucks what anybody else thinks.
Right.
And also like and subscribe.
There you go. Yes.
Like and subscribe.
I will do my parting words as well and just say, thank you so much, you guys. Really, this was a lot of fun.
Oh God, it was a fucking blast.
It was a blast. It was really cool, and I've really enjoyed. I've enjoyed so much the whole DCPC adventure and the call in dead music and just like the whole thing. I've really enjoyed being like kind of this tangential part of your, the last year or two of your your endeavor. So thank you,
sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we would love to do a song with you guys someday. I know it sounds like it's not.
Yeah, right on.
But I mean, I'm doing more like hard style shit right now, and like that would go.
We do all kinds of shit. We don't care. We'll do anything.
I mean, yeah, dude. You guys are fucking. You remind me of band members that I've been in band with, like so many band members. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. I get to do parting words now. It was fun to finally sit down and talk to a band, because I used to be in bands my entire high school and teenage years, and it just reminded me of all the good times. And like Bob said at the beginning of the show, punk rock and metal people are really some of the best people you'll ever meet. If you guys walk in, see the love these fuckers have for each other, like that is what draws people to punk rock and to metal, hardcore, to that kind of music, because it's a fucking family.
No,
it is.
Do you want to know why? You want to know why Kilo wears sunglasses every time? Because he cries in every episode.
I do.
He's crying right now. He is crying.
Okay.
This time I'm not.
Cry.
I do. If you go back and watch other episodes, one of the thumbnails is my face contorted like a fucking puzzle picture.
I just thought you were paying an homage to Andrew Eldridge.
Wait, what about Andrew Eldridge? What?
I thought you were paying an homage to Andrew Eldridge.
No, I just legitimately do wear sunglasses.
He does wear sunglasses all the time.
Like,
all right. Well,
I also cry.
You also what?
Cry all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
A good way, in a good sappy, sad way.
Indeed. All right. Well, I think that with that, we're gonna call it a night. But thank you so much, guys. Really, it's been great.
Okay, dudes. Thank you so much. It was a blast.
Cheers.
Keep in touch.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good night.
See you later, everybody.
Go with God.
Hey, let's take a minute.